you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you would know.
Boxing experts agree Jake Paul stands little chance against Gervonta Davis. Shakur Stevenson explains that despite Jake's size advantage, it won't save him from Tank's superior skills and experience. He believes Davis will control every round with sharp precision and ring IQ. While a knockout may be unlikely due to Jake's size, Stevenson predicts Tank will dominate and win decisively by decision.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and say he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or a problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just going to knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out now.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously. No?
Hell no. Nah, that ain't really like... I mean, like I said, here's the thing. Like, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
Showbiz the Adult explains that Gervonta, Tank, Davis has already proven he can dominate taller and bigger opponents like Ryan Garcia. He reminds fans that Ryan wasn't just taller, he was also faster and more explosive. Yet Tank still found his rhythm and finished him decisively. The YouTuber and analyst argues that if Davis could close the distance against a skilled boxer like Ryan, Jake Paul will be no exception. While Jake's size might look impressive on paper, Showbiz emphasizes that boxing is truly about distance control, timing, and ring IQ, all areas where Tank thrives. He believes Davis has perfected the art of reading opponents and setting traps, and once Jake enters the ring, Tank's mastery will quickly expose him.
All said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. And let me tell you this too. I looked at I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Mario Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him. I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I want to say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Baumgartner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3 minutes, 12 rounds is Alicia Baumgartner. And I already know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Baumgartner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Baumgartner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra, and then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praised Gervonta Tank Davis for his unmatched ability to draw massive attention whenever he fights. He explained that modern boxing isn't just about skill. It's also about star power and the ability to fill arenas. Tank, he said, represents this new era perfectly, bringing excitement and energy that captivate both hardcore boxing fans and casual viewers alike. Algieri also acknowledged Jake Paul's influence, noting that while Jake lacks Tank's technical brilliance, he's been instrumental in reviving mainstream interest in the sport. His crossover appeal has introduced boxing to audiences who might never have tuned in before. Algieri concluded that both Tank and Jake, in their own unique ways, are vital for boxing's growth, each attracting different crowds that keep the sport alive and thriving.
Boxing could be Jake Paul soon, and it's
That's
based.
what I'm saying.
The
I have
face
this
of boxing is
interest in the
basically. Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in, and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
Truly, after this fight.
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and then making funny faces. You know what I mean? And then it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set, and all over your phone, and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about.
Charleston White harshly criticized Jake Paul's boxing career, calling it pure entertainment masquerading as sport. He argued that none of Jake's matches have carried the authenticity of true professional bouts, describing them instead as scripted exhibitions designed to generate attention and revenue. According to White, Jake has yet to face a legitimate, top-tier boxer capable of truly testing his abilities, endurance, and composure under pressure. His comments echo the frustration of boxing purists who see Jake as exploiting the sport for fame rather than respecting it as a discipline. White insists that if Jake were ever to step into the ring with a fighter like Gervonta Davis, the gap in skill and experience would be undeniable. Tank's elite training, sharp reflexes, and championship pedigree, he believes, will expose Jake's limitations, proving that Real legends are built through real fights.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected analysts, compared potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight to the time Logan Paul faced Floyd Mayweather. He noted that while Jake may hold a physical advantage, it's Tank's experience and ring mastery that would determine the outcome. Atlas described Davis as a dancer inside the ring, someone who dictates rhythm, pace, and energy with effortless control. Throughout his career, Tank has faced and dismantled dangerous opponents, developing instincts that allow him to adapt and break anyone down, no matter their size. In contrast, Atlas argued that Jake lacks the sharpness, precision, and ring awareness required to survive at that level. He emphasized that boxing isn't about muscle or size. It's about intelligence, control, and perfectly calculated movement, all of which define Gervonta Davis.
I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, And Jake Paul, we're gonna find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa! You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's gonna sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Hey!
Showbiz the Adult also spoke about Gervonta Davis's personality outside the ring, noting that while Tank isn't the most polished speaker or businessman, that's not what defines his power. His confidence, Showbiz explained, comes from his upbringing in a tough environment where survival required strength, not talk. He added that Tank's body language during press conferences reveals everything. He never looks nervous, pressured, or unsure. When he faces opponents, his silent presence speaks louder than any words. Showbiz contrasted this with Jake Paul, who relies heavily on media promotion, saying Tank's aura doesn't need marketing. It's built on authenticity, confidence, and real fighting spirit.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm going to whoop your ass, I'm going to beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had clowns coming out.
Not everyone is convinced that Gervonta Davis can beat Jake Paul. Some analysts urge fans to stay realistic, reminding them that weight classes exist for a reason. They argue that while Tank's power and explosiveness dominate at lightweight and super featherweight, things change drastically when facing a naturally bigger fighter like Jake. In boxing, size and physics matter. A 135-pound fighter stepping up against someone over 190 pounds faces major challenges in reach, strength, and endurance. These analysts suggest that Tank's punches might not carry the same impact against a larger opponent, and even clean shots could be absorbed differently by Jake's heavier frame and stronger build.
We want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think.
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's
6'1", 205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135-pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30-pound, 20, 30-pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once. No. He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out. Because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake.
Despite the skepticism, many fans admit that Jake Paul's presence in boxing brings undeniable entertainment. His fights generate both criticism and excitement, adding curiosity and buzz to the sport. While purists often dismiss his matches as mere money grabs, others view them as a refreshing injection of energy into boxing. Jake has a rare ability to make people talk. Whether they love him or hate him, everyone pays attention when his name is attached to a fight. Viewers tune in not just to see him win, but to see if he'll finally be defeated. That sense of unpredictability has made boxing feel alive again. Even longtime traditional fans acknowledge that Jake's charisma and drama have reignited interest in a sport that thrives on rivalries, personalities, and storylines, elements he delivers every time he steps into the ring.
Oh, this is bad for boxing. This is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down. Calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Oh, Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey! If he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul is undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British boxer Dave Allen offered a more balanced perspective on the potential matchup. He admitted he never enjoyed Jake Paul's previous bouts with Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., calling them publicity stunts. However, he believes a fight with Gervonta Davis could be different. Allen said that as long as no one gets seriously hurt, it's fine since exhibitions are meant to entertain fans. He acknowledged that while Jake isn't a world-class boxer, his fights spark discussion and keep boxing relevant. People are genuinely curious to see how far Jake can go and how Tank performs against someone so much.
Listen, thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same. They're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff. I won't really watch any of it. I think I watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level. I think he works really hard. I think he trains hard. And I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. His experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is that having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight didn't come out of nowhere. Reports reveal that Gervonta Davis has mentioned Jake Paul several times over the years, teasing a possible showdown. Fans have long wondered if it would ever happen, and now, those rumors are becoming reality. Both fighters have traded words online, fueling anticipation and signaling their intent to settle things in the ring. Tank remains confident he can expose Jake's flaws, while Jake sees the fight as his chance to prove he truly belongs among real boxers.
You're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beats his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The final debate among boxing experts centers on power dynamics. Gervonta Davis is feared for his devastating knockouts at lightweight and super featherweight. But analysts question whether that same power will translate against someone of Jake Paul's natural size. Davis's punches destroy opponents in his own division, yet physics plays a role when facing a much heavier fighter. A shot that folds a 135-pound opponent might barely shake someone close to 200 pounds. Experts suggest Jake's size, reach, and durability could limit Tank's offensive impact. This doesn't diminish Davis's skill. It simply means his usual knockout formula may not work the same way.
Because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had. But even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this gonna, where's the idea that Gervonta's even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals, and when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of staged fight bullshit, which these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating
meaning,
the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And
which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these fights that don't make sense for what you've said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time,